Alright everyone, pull up a chair. We need to talk. Because sometimes, in the middle of all the noise, the PR spin, and the carefully crafted narratives, a single word comes along that cuts through all of it like a diamond blade. A single word that perfectly, brutally, and honestly encapsulates the entire truth of a situation. And the brilliant, fearless Lady Colin Campbell has just given us that word for the Meghan Markle phenomenon: bulldozer. It wasn't just a casual insult thrown out in the heat of the moment. It was a metaphor. It was a diagnosis. It was a prophecy. And it is, without a doubt, the most accurate description of Meghan Markle's entire career. She meant it literally. Meghan bulldozes everything in her path: reputations, traditions, relationships, and most tragically of all, her own husband. It was a remark that resonated so deeply because it captured what so many of us have observed for years. Meghan doesn't leave behind growth or construction. She leaves behind rubble. Now I know you guys are excited for more, but before we delve into further discussion, if you haven't subscribed, come on guys, what are you waiting for? Hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell ASAP. So now, the wreckage of her choices is visible everywhere you look. From Prince Harry's shattered public image, to a string of embarrassing Netflix flops, to a collection of collapsing brand ventures. And instead of stopping to reassess the trail of destruction behind her, Meghan continues to storm forward, furious at her critics, completely blind to her own failures, and utterly convinced that the entire world secretly adores her. But Lady C's bulldozer label hit home because it made one thing crystal clear. Meghan Markle isn't just destroying the monarchy's legacy, she is systematically, relentlessly, and tragically destroying her own. And no one, absolutely no one, has been more thoroughly bulldozed than Prince Harry. Let's just take a moment to remember the man he was. Celebrated as Diana's spirited, cheeky, and beloved son, the soldier who brought honor to his uniform with 2 tours in Afghanistan, the founder of the Invictus Games, a genuinely inspiring and globally respected initiative. He was a hero to many, and now he is little more than Meghan's shadow. A hollowed-out, sad-eyed man whose words echo hers, whose choices mirror hers, and whose scandals are inextricably tied to hers. Lady C was blunt when she said Meghan bulldozed Harry's dignity, and she was 100% correct. She didn't just marry him, she demolished him. She bulldozed his personality, his spirit, his connection to his family and his country, and then she attempted to rebuild him in her own image, an angry, aggrieved professional victim. The once respected prince now looks like a man being dragged from one public humiliation to the next, with no escape route in sight. He is collateral damage in her war on reality. Then came the so-called centerpiece of Meghan's media empire, with Love Meghan Season 2. This was meant to be her triumph, the glossy Netflix lifestyle series where she would finally showcase her warmth, her style, her authenticity. Instead, it bombed. It bombed harder than any royal project in history. Critics called it flat, self-indulgent, and completely devoid of originality. Ratings nosedived after the very first episode. Audiences weren't charmed, they were bored out of their skulls. And yet, in true Meghan fashion, she insisted that her critics were secretly her fans. She told allies that all the negative reviews were just proof of jealousy, and that people actually love it, but don't admit it. To the rest of the world, this sounded completely delusional. It was the sound of a bulldozer plowing forward at full speed, even as the entire project lay in ruins behind her. And the collapse didn't stop with Netflix. In a move of spectacular hubris, Meghan tied her as-ever brand launch to the series, hoping the glossy show would boost sales of her lifestyle products. Instead, it was an unmitigated catastrophe. The items sat unsold. Audiences mocked the project as overpriced, shallow, and completely out of touch. The brand was quickly rebranded by critics as the As Never brand, a punchline rather than a profit machine. For a woman who once saw herself as the next Gwyneth Paltrow, the failure was utterly humiliating. As ever, didn't elevate her image. It bulldozed what little credibility she still had left as a businesswoman. And it gets worse. Meghan's Shop My Influencer project, another one of her brilliant ideas, quietly disappeared from the internet just as her Netflix series aired. At the very moment she needed momentum, another project collapsed without a single explanation. The timing was no coincidence. Meghan bulldozed her own opportunities by stretching herself thin, chasing too many ventures at once, and delivering on absolutely none of them successfully. She gets a plot of land, promises to build a skyscraper, and then just drives her bulldozer back and forth until nothing is left but dust and broken promises. Lady C's remark also drew laser-like attention to Meghan's glaring, breathtaking hypocrisy. On the one hand, Meghan sneers at her critics, branding them obsessed secret fans. On the other, she continues to profit by attacking the monarchy, the very institution she claims to have escaped. Every Netflix special, every interview, every tell-all deal is rooted in her royal connection. Without the monarchy she bulldozed, there is no brand. And yet she continues to bulldoze the one connection that actually pays her bills. It's a parasitic, self-destructive loop, and it is fascinating to watch. This is the most fascinating part of the entire Meghan Markle psychology. The bulldozer isn't just powered by ambition, it's powered by a special kind of fuel, pure, uncut delusion. In her mind, the sound of buildings collapsing is the sound of applause. The screams of her victims are the cheers of her secret fans. She is constitutionally incapable of processing failure, so she simply relabels the wreckage as a triumph and moves on to the next demolition site. She has to bulldoze reality itself, because admitting failure would mean admitting she was wrong, that her decision to leave the royal family for this hollow Hollywood dream was a catastrophic, life-altering mistake. And her ego simply will not allow that. But what happens when the world stops watching the bulldozer? For a while we were all captivated, shocked, and angry at the destruction. But now? Now a new, more dangerous feeling is setting in: indifference. And that is where Meghan finds herself today. Once a figure who could dominate global headlines with a single whisper, she now struggles to hold public interest. The American media landscape that once welcomed her with open arms now treats her as a curiosity, another failed celebrity clinging desperately to relevance. Audiences are no longer outraged, they are bored. And boredom is deadly for someone whose entire empire relies on constant, unyielding attention. The bulldozer needs attention to survive. When people stop watching, when they just shrug and turn the channel, the engine sputters and dies. And that is exactly what is happening. While Meghan charges forward in her bubble of delusion, Prince Harry's silence grows more and more deafening. Observers note his almost complete absence from any promotional efforts for Meghan's ventures. Insiders whisper that he knows every flop, every new failure, drags him deeper and deeper into ridicule. His once heroic reputation has been bulldozed into a caricature. Meghan's plus one, the man who traded a crown for chaos. But his silence won't save him. It only makes him look complicit in the bulldozer's path of destruction. He stands in the ruins of his own life, silent and diminished, because the bulldozer has taught him that his own voice doesn't matter anymore. The greatest irony in all of this is that Meghan once promised to build. She was going to build compassion, build empowerment, build bridges. Instead, her bulldozing has left nothing but wreckage. A bitter, isolated husband, a string of abandoned, failed projects, and a public that is slowly but surely turning away in boredom. Lady C's words were more than just an insult. They were a prophecy. Meghan Markle may very well bulldoze her way right into total irrelevance. Her critics don't even need to invent stories anymore. The wreckage of her choices speaks for itself. By dismissing her critics as secret fans, by raging at her failures instead of learning from them, she has bulldozed her own credibility into the ground. And Harry stands in the ruins, a silent testament to the devastation. Now Lady Colin Campbell's label of Meghan Markle as a bulldozer has hit like a thunderclap, and the real question is for you, my brilliant community. Do you believe Lady C is absolutely right? That Meghan Markle is a bulldozer who leaves wreckage behind wherever she goes? Or do you think that's too harsh, that she's being unfairly painted by critics who never gave her a chance? Drop your verdict in the comments below. Write Bulldozer Meghan if you believe Lady C nailed it and Meghan's failures are all the proof we need. Write Too Harsh if you think Meghan is misunderstood and Lady C went too far. And what about Harry? Has Meghan bulldozed his identity to the point of no return, leaving him a shadow of the soldier prince he once was? Or does he still have a chance to pull himself out from under the wreckage? Comment, Harry's done, if you think he's finished, or save Harry if you believe he can still somehow rebuild. Because here's the truth. Meghan may rage, she may claim her critics are her secret fans, but the verdict of history isn't written by her PR team. It's written by the public. It's written by you. So, make your voice heard. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this story of the bulldozer and its trail of destruction is far from over. When a name like that resonates, it cements itself into public perception. Meghan wanted to be remembered as a humanitarian, a modern duchess, even a global brand builder. Instead, she's now being defined by the wreckage she leaves behind. And unless she changes course, her legacy will not be one of glamour or empowerment, but of destruction. Because in the end, the failures speak for themselves. Ta-ta, and bye for now.